What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports NBA Hardwood show, and we will be here breaking down the 5-game Friday night slate, which is somewhat surprising. We usually get the big boy slates on Friday, but tonight only 5 games, so we'll have some extra time to chit-chat here. As always, joined by my two guys, JT and CDome, all three of us in our home bases today, which is pretty rare. Well, I guess not rare for me, but rare for JT and CDome to be in the home base. CDome a little bit of a different backdrop, which I like quite a bit. But before we get into any NBA talk, I wanted to get you guys' take on the NFL games this weekend, which are obviously going to be big conference championship games. We'll have a ton of content rolling out here this weekend and multiple shows to get you guys covered for that massive slate on Sunday. Toss it over to you, CDome. Who do you got this weekend in the big games?
Yeah, I'm riding with the Bengals and the Eagles, man. I think from the Eagles 49ers side, I love the 49ers. I mean, I think they're one of the best well-rounded complete teams. But I got to be honest with you, at some point we got to see some regression, right? Like some regression from Purdy's got to happen. I think when you look at the overall quarterback matchup, typically when it's late in the stages like this, I go with who's the better quarterback. And I mean, in this situation, I'm taking Hurts, and then I'm taking a healthy Burrow over a banged up Mahomes. I think there's all fluff right now with a high ankle sprain. So going to see what it's like to get past that pass rush of Cincinnati. And listen, man, at the end of the day, I was telling my boys this. The biggest key element with the Chiefs, in my opinion, is they don't have Tyreek Hill. And I think that alone right there is like the biggest difference maker. So Bengals, Eagles, that's the call. 2-team parlay. Ride it up.
Nice. JT, who do you got this weekend? And then any stories or anything for us? You've been into the storytelling here on Fridays, which I've enjoyed quite a bit. So take on the football games this weekend, and then any stories for us as well.
Yeah, we got plenty of time. Like you said, 5 games tonight. There's games all throughout the day tomorrow, which is nice on a Saturday without football. But I'm pretty much aligned with CDome. I feel much more confidently in the Eagles. We talked about this on the Wishbone podcast, myself, Holden, and Spread. Spread was taking a day off from murdering, pillaging, burying bodies to chat with us about the NFL slate this weekend. And listen, the Niners on the road, the results haven't been great, particularly outside of division. They lost, of course, opening week at Chicago, lost in the middle of the season at Atlanta. Now they go and they face what I think is their toughest test. And the way that you beat this team has been through the air. And Philadelphia quietly, really quietly, has an elite receiving core. You've got A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. You've got Dallas Goedert now back healthy. So what we talked about, actually, that I like a lot, I was looking at it last night as we were talking through the podcast. Go ahead and listen to that. It's up today. Is just doing an overload Philly stack with Jalen Hurts. One of the receivers, my preference is A.J. Brown. He's just 200 more on DraftKings than Devonta Smith. I think Smith will be a little bit more popular, maybe even. And then Goddard, and then add Sanders in case they get up and they have to salt it away. I think it's a situation where they'll rely on the main guys and not go to the Boston Scotts, the Gamewell. So I like that plan. You know, C-Dome's absolutely right. I mean, are we concerned about Juju Smith-Schuster or Kadarius Toney or Valdez-Scantling? If they can lock down Travis Kelce, I think it's a pretty clear path for the Bengals here. The only thing is, look, they've beaten Kansas City 3 times in a row. Can they do it a 4th time in a row? That's really, really difficult to do in the NFL. We'll have to see. But, yeah, and as far as stories, look, we talked about this last night. Thank you guys for subscribing to the YouTube channel. We are now just about 70 subscribers away from 15,000. We want to get that number this weekend. It's been great to watch this company grow. And we're really close to getting our 250th subscriber on the website membership this week. We're just 8 away. 8 away. Remember, if the 250th person that signs up this week uses code JTHayes15, that's what the +1 means. I'm paying for your year's subscription. So go ahead, use code JTHayes15, sign up. That's the story for today. Excited for tonight's NBA slate. A great day of NBA tomorrow. Football Sunday. CDome, how much red wine are you going to consume, and how many disciples are going to be in that pad, and are any of them going to be met?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm on a little bit of a plan right now because I'm going to Cabo for Valentine's Day with the girls. So we're doing a little a little lover's experience, not the partying this time. It's just going to be a lot of drinking and a lot of Viagra. I think that's really just what it comes down to. So I'm excited for that. And then, so no drinks right now, taking it easy. And then, I will say though, I am craving some red wine, JT. Now that you mention it, it would be nice. But we're on the ginger right now. We're on the apple cider vinegar, and we got to keep it like that till Valentine's Day, unfortunately.
Yeah, I talked about that maybe that was something that Snyder was contemplating for lunch, a nice apple cider vinegar smoothie. But it's interesting you bring up the Viagra because, Big T says, hey, I'm too young. I don't use it. You're a young guy. You're just, not all that much younger than I am. I mean, it can be helpful if you want an extended night of happiness, can't it?
Extended night of happiness.
Here's the thing. I think we talked about this before, but what I learned over the course of, as I got older, I started realizing, women a little bit more. The biggest thing you want to do is you want to leave an impression, right? What's
Absolutely.
wrong with popping a little bit of milligrams on the first time you do it with someone? At the end of the day, it's going to be amazing. She'll never forget you. And hey, she might hit you up later on. If there's no one else available and there's no one doing it like you, she's going to hit you up. So you're hedging yourself for now and for the future. I think it's a great strategy.
What better impression than a few days of a limp?
This Valentine's Day trip, is this the trip? Like, is it going down? I mean,
she might watch these shows actually.
Okay, all right. Now we'll move along.
I got something planned, but not that yet. That's going to be
okay.
So.
Yeah, I got my Valentine's Day is not going to be very fun, and it's you know what? I'm not even going to tell the story.
You got a basketball tournament or something?
No, actually, we have a basketball tournament the week before, but it's not an on-air story. I gotta fill you guys in off air about my Valentine's Day. Let's just say it's Hoopster's not hitting the bench on Valentine's Day. Let's just leave it at that. All right. So yeah. Not good. Not
after the broadcast ends to hear the details. It sounds
it's not good for your boy. So we'll off air story for sure. We got what? So we got the 5 NBA games. They look pretty decent. I mean, the totals nowadays in the NBA are just freaking massive. Yeah. 240, 237 and a half, 235, and then like both of the other games are like 220. It's wild. Good for fantasy, makes it fun, super high scoring. But as I said, we got we're going to do a show, I believe, tomorrow morning, me, Big T, and I think JSU, and then there's going to be a Sunday morning show as well. So we're going to have 2 shows covering the NFL slate. My official take, I got to stick with my Niners. I've been riding the Niners since Purdy took over. Can't go away from it now. I've said the Eagles are overrated, and when they face a team, they're going to get their ass kicked. It's happening this weekend. Something tells me that the Chiefs win that game for some reason. I don't know why. Bengals have beat them 3 times in a row. I think JT said it's hard to, it's going to definitely be hard 4 times in a row to beat a team. You got the Mahomes injury. Now Kelsey pops up on the injury report today with a back injury. They officially labeled him as questionable, but they said he fully practiced today, so he's going to play. I think the Bengals win, but something tells me the Chiefs could just surprise us and win that game. So I don't know. My official pick will be the Bengals and Niners, but I would not be surprised one bit. Obviously the Chiefs are slight favorites in that game, so it's not like anything crazy, but I think wouldn't be surprised if they do end up winning. Everyone's on the Bengals. Every single person I know is on the Bengals besides AP. AP over here at Rumpier is literally the only person I know that is on his Chiefs. He's loyal. He's sticking with his squad, but everyone else is on the Bengals. So I don't know. That's my official. But I do like the 2-team parlay quite a bit, or 2-team teaser with it fits Big T's Wong strategy where you get the Niners plus 8.5, and then you get the Bengals plus 7.5. I do like that one quite a bit. So see what happens Sunday. It's all going down. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's hop into these games. We got 5. First one on the docket, we have the Bucks. We have the Pacers. Big total, 240. Milwaukee favored by 8 in this game. On the Pacers side, TJ McConnell will continue to be popular. He's been very popular recently. Last game, didn't fully get there. Only 30.75 fantasy points. Price is up a little bit as well. Buddy Hield coming in at 6.1K. I do like him quite a bit. I mean, the spread in this game is only 8. Yes. Do I think the Bucks win? Yeah, I do think they're going to win, but man, the spread's only 8. If the Pacers can somehow keep this game close, there's going to be a lot of scoring. So I don't mind Buddy. Miles Turner at 7.1K, 3 straight solid games for him. I think he is a fine option. And then on the Bucks side, Giannis certainly in play. I mean, he could absolutely go off here against the Pacers. Not a very good defensive team. Pat Connaughton coming off a really big game, only 4.1K, but really those are the only 2 Bucks guys that I'm interested in. So you got Connaughton, you got Giannis, McConnell, Buddy, and Miles Turner are the 5 plays for me here in this game. JT, I'll toss it over to you. Pacers, Bucks, who do you got here?
Yeah, I mean, there's a decision point here on TJ McConnell. He's been so good. He's been really, really good. Even last game, 5X, right? But that price slowly rising, $500 rise now on DraftKings. And the question is, it's only a 5-game slate, right? There are other point guards that I'm interested in. I actually have some interest in Jrue Holiday here at 8,500 because I think he's going to be very unowned, and it is a great matchup for opposing point guards. The other guys you mentioned, yes, interested in. One guy under the radar, I don't think he's going to get a lot of ownership. Bobby Portis is out, though. He's going to miss some time. Brook Lopez, 5,800. Centers have absolutely destroyed this Indiana team. And Brook is, I mean, what he's been doing this season, I don't want to say it's under the radar, but almost nobody plays him. And he's gone out and he's gotten 50 fantasy points several times. So I think this is a matchup where he could do that at 5,800.
Yeah, I like that call. I mean, center is loaded. I can't imagine a lot of people are going to be playing Lopez. So I think you get really low ownership on a guy in a good matchup. I mean, Miles Turner is like a statue out there in terms of like guarding guys. So I think that's definitely a good
ownership.
Yep. Like that call. CDome, what do you got here in this one? Bucks, Pacers.
Yeah, this is going to be the difficult question of the night in regards to TJ McConnell. I mean, he's still technically paid off his price point last game. But I will say he's got a very difficult matchup tonight. Jrue Holiday, very good defensively. What does that look like tonight in regards to his overall production? And does that give bumps to other areas? Maybe let's say a Buddy Hield or, even Chris Duarte. I mean, the stats and the numbers say that McConnell is a good play and he does show up a lot when you run the optimizer. And I don't disagree with that one bit. But I think there's other interesting spots that we might want to go to tonight at point guard that we could differentiate ourselves. So I think I'm going to be on the fence at the moment in regards to McConnell because one side of me says defensively he's in for a little bit of a struggle. And then the other side of me says, well, he's cheap. He's going to have the ball so much in his hands. But I will say the last game, the rotation was a little bit weird with him. He also came out a little bit early, like in the first quarter in comparison to the previous game. I know that it was a back-to-back, but still, he's really the true best ball handler with, the other injuries there at that position. So other guys that you're going to want to have to consider is Buddy Hield. I mean, he's going to take a ton of shots. He's getting there defensively. He shows up as a great play tonight. He's dual eligible at shooting guard and small forward, 6,100. I don't mind that play whatsoever. And his projection is, a little bit less than McConnell, but he's also cheaper than McConnell. So I love that. Giannis, I don't like the projection based on his point per dollar. I think for me, there's a lot of other guys tonight in the range of like the 8 to 9K range that I'm really focused on. I think you could have a really good balanced lineup tonight and not have to kind of overpay for a stud over 11K like Giannis. So that to me is going to be something that I might shy away from. And then the public also, for now is looking at guys like Aaron Nesmith, guys like Pat Connaughton. I'm still debating if you really need to go cheap tonight, to the point where, you're looking for true value because there's a lot of great plays and great ranges tonight. And you can make some really nice lineups. But once again, if you're running optimizers and you're looking at how these things populate, I don't mind it whatsoever. And then, like I mentioned, Chris Duarte, his price has come up a little bit. He's over 4K now at 4,200. He's dual eligible, shooting guard, small forward. But their projections are just not the sexiest in regards to kind of the upside that we're looking for. Yeah, a 5x is great, but I mean, we're looking for like the 8 to 9x range in regards to like projection and just expectations. So the Brook Lopez call is interesting. I will say though, he has one of the best matchups tonight in regards to defenses struggling against big men. We just saw Wendell Carter really like kind of put it to Indiana. It's been a weak spot for them. And then I think Miles Turner is a guy that is putting up a ton of shots. He has a pretty strong projection tonight. He's also been in trade discussions. Is he just really just doing whatever he can to really showcase and show his value for that trading block? So a lot of pieces here, but if I had to choose one guy at the end of the day out of all of this, I would go between Buddy Hield and I like the call that JT mentioned. Guards have destroyed Indiana. Drew Holiday, 8,500. I don't mind it, and he has a really good projection as well.
Yeah, should have mentioned on the Pacers side, Nembhard, Nesmith, and Turner all listed as questionable. So if those guys do sit, or a couple of them sit, these Pacers plays would become even better. Then you could see a guy like Duarte coming off the big game, get a big boost. So we definitely need to monitor that in his first game on the slate. So
one more thing is someone just mentioned Grayson Allen. Like, he is a quote unquote like really good play tonight in regards to AP's flow chart. The only thing with Grayson Allen that really is something that kind of bothers me is the fact that he doesn't really show up in optimals a lot. And furthermore, he's just very like sporadic, right? Like, you could get that 30-point game, but then you could easily get that like 21 point, 14 point, like the 12, the 13, and he'll play the minutes. It's just really kind of a volatile type of play, right? So if you're doing multiple lineups, don't mind it. If you're doing single entry, I don't know if that's kind of the move. So that's just what I'll say on Grayson Allen. If that changes and he starts showing up in optimals, then yeah, like I'll make adjustments. But just to address that, because I saw that in the chat.
Yeah, it's just with him, it's like, what's the true ceiling with Giannis and Drew in there? It's like, man, maybe a floor type play, but it's tough for him to get to the ceiling with those guys in there. So, but the matchup is good. I mean, the matchup's good for any team playing the Pacers because they suck at defense. I mean, the Bucks are projected to score 124 points tonight, which is a massive, massive number. So, a lot to think about here in this game. First one, it is a standalone 7 p.m. Eastern game. So we have a little bit of news, not a ton really on the slate. A couple pieces of news is in the next game. But before we get to that, please do us a favor, hit the like and subscribe button. As JT said, we're closing in on 15,000 subscribers. We'd like to get there on the show. It would be amazing if we got there. If not, shortly after. And then let's hit the like. We got about 500 watching. This is the point in the show where I toss it over to my guy JT to give you a little bit of a pep talk and set that number in terms of what you guys need to get to in order to get the plays of the day. So JT, what are you thinking here tonight?
Yeah, we like to go a little bit light on Fridays. I'm not as discouraged. Chunky Blue wants 600 likes. There's 476 watching. It's Friday. You just talked about what a great weekend it's going to be sports wise. We're in such good moods. 476 watching. We're probably going to get above 500, right? So let's go with 375. 375. I mean, that's pretty fair. It's an easy number to hit. But Jenkins, just a little bit more than what you suggested. Go ahead and hit the like button. And as Hoop was reminding you, we're closing in on 15K. How cool it would be to see that number change from 14.9 to 15 while we're on here talking about tonight's slate.
That would be very cool. So please, go ahead, CDome.
No, I was going to say, and, I don't know if you guys saw this, but I did like a little RPS tournament tonight for the members in Discord, and it filled up like fast as hell. 100 people. First place gets a Peyton Manning graded rookie card, and second gets a Jaren Jackson Jr. So, so like some free things tonight. That's like one of the benefits of being an RPS member. So, I mean, hey, at the end of the day, it's the time, right? JT, I don't know what your promo code is, but I don't even know I have one, so I might as well just use yours.
Yeah,
you do have one.
So you can go ahead and sign up. Use code JTHayes15. If you do it, you can actually get in on these contests that CDome is putting up. And as Hoop was talking about, man, massive prize pools this weekend. We'll have content. We've got articles coming out. There's going to be cores up. The core page is already starting to heat up. You can see that people are clicking on boxes, thinking about whether or not they want to fill it out this early. Get in there. JTHayes 15% off. And if you're the 250th person to sign up this week, which we're just 8 away, then I buy your membership.
I mean, this show is so popular. We have people risking legal action being taken against them to tune in. Chunky Blue, I watched this show illegally from work. That's that's an interesting setup. Well, I'm glad
I'd like some details on that. Like how is there a way to illegally stream on YouTube?
Yeah, I'm curious. Could we get a follow-up comment, Chunky? Just one follow-up comment on the situation you have going on right now. But either way, we appreciate it, legally or illegally. We appreciate it.
Drop us some notes.
I can be fired. Okay, so he's risking his job. So
that's a different story. All right. Oh, I get it. So he's got a firewall at work.
Yeah,
and doesn't allow him to watch enjoyable programs, and so he's bypassed that. That's a high honor, Chunky Blue. Thank you very much.
These are some good comments. Yeah, we appreciate being here, Chunky. So thank you for risking your job and career, I guess, to be here. So hopefully we can find some winners for you tonight.
Yeah, hell of a story if you got caught, right, Hoop? I mean, you go home to the wife, the missus, whatever. What happened? Well, I had to watch the Run Pure Sports Hardwood show, and the boss walked in, and they walked me out. I mean, I can't imagine the aftermath of that discussion. But I'm glad you're doing it nonetheless.
Imagine that as the start to your weekend. Fired at work for watching the Run Pure NBA Hardwood show.
It's a tough Friday.
He's towards the end of his career, he says, so who cares? All right, well, maybe early retirement if you get caught. It might not be so bad. So
he's on KMA time is what they call it. KMA time.
Yeah. All right, we got the Grizzlies. We got the Timberwolves, 237.5 total. Memphis favored by 3 in this game, and a couple pieces of injury news. Gobert's listed as questionable. I think he's been questionable the last couple slates and has played. And then Desmond Bane is also listed as questionable tonight. On the Timberwolves side, I think we have some nice price tags on these guys. D'Angelo Russell, 6'7", same story for me. When he's in the 7s or mid-7s, I typically don't play him. When he gets under 7K, I think he's a play, and he's been solid lately. 41, 39, 49, 35 fantasy points. So any one of those performances pays off his current price tag. So interested in him. Anthony Edwards is going to be a play for me on most slates, 9K for him. Kyle Anderson, 5.5K. Not a Kyle Anderson guy, but I get it if you want to go there. And then Gobert, I guess, would be the interesting one. Back-to-back solid games, 45, 62 fantasy points. If he does play, which I think he does, probably going to come along with some ownership because, 6.4K, pretty cheap for a guy that just put up back-to-back 40 spots. And then on the Grizzlies side, Steven Adams out, so Jaren Jackson, Brandon Clark in play here tonight. If Bane does play, I think he's a fine option. And then John Morant at 10K coming off the 58 spot against Golden State. I think he's a solid play as well. So 7 to 8 guys, I think, here that we can consider for this slate. CDome, I'll go to you first. Thoughts here on the Grizzlies and Timberwolves?
Yeah, so I've been working on some tools for MLB, and I started applying them to NBA that kind of focus on price, salary, and the opportunity of them showing up in the optimal. And 2 guys, I mean, straight off the bat tonight from this game, D'Angelo Russell and Rudy Gobert are just continuing to just pop. Obviously, they're getting the ownership. It's just like you mentioned before with D. Russell, any time under 7K is probably a time that's warranted to go ahead and play him. There's just upside there with that price point. And I got to be honest with you, this is another spot too where Memphis struggles against guard play. And, look where we're at. He's going to play a lot of minutes. He's going to take a ton of shots. If he's efficient tonight, I mean, that 6,700 price point is nothing. And then you got Gobert, who I just feel is misappropriately priced tonight. I don't know what DK was thinking, where you go from 7,400, a few games ago to, all right, let's just knock it back down to 6,400. I mean, this guy just came off a 45-point game and a 42-point game. I'm sorry, but it's just a misappropriation of the price. He shows up a ton in optimals. it's hard for me to say no to these two. Really going to try to figure out how to put them together, and also just get them on a lot of lineups, as many as I can, because there's nothing there that warrants that they just don't exceed expectations tonight. And then like when we look at the rest of the game, Ja's got a really good projection, for his 10K price point. I will say though, it's also a good matchup for him. I could see these two guards going back and forth. He's not getting as much love as maybe say Gobert and Russell. And I think that that's something that maybe we should probably look in a little bit more into. Anthony Edwards, 9K. He has a great, projection as well. I got to tell you, there's a lot of pieces from this game that make a lot of sense, because then you also have guys like Kyle Anderson, 5,500. He's got a 30-point projection. And then Desmond Bane is someone that like I'm a little bit interested tonight, solely based on the fact that he's almost projected for 40 points. Ownership's really not going there. But if I run 500 lineups right now, he shows up quite a bit. I mean, a lot of pieces from this game are. So I think, this is a game where, one, you could stack if you wanted to. And two, as well, there's multiple pieces that I could see being here in this spot. And lastly, Kyle Anderson right now is probably becoming more and more of a great play with his price point. I know people talk about like the revenge narrative and things like that. But small forwards and power forwards, I mean, if you look at AP's flow chart, right, he's like in the best spot of all the small power forwards tonight. And I mean, they struggle the most. So outside of that, that's it for this game. And I think the last guy that maybe people are going to try to focus on and talk about is Brandon Clark. He is someone that was just on the most recent, or 2 nights ago, if I'm not mistaken, on the winning 100K lineup. He's 4,900 tonight. I'm curious to see kind of what, this looks like in regards to ownership as we get closer to lock. But 4,900, if he's going to play 30 plus minutes, he's dual eligible as well. I wish he had a little bit of a better projection, but this is another area where that you could, target and focus as well. And he as well is also an AP flow chart play. So, AP's doing God's work with the flow chart. It's definitely been helpful in recent weeks. You see a lot of plays showing up from this flow chart. It makes a lot of sense. So, like I mentioned, there's a lot of pieces that you could play in this game. I don't mind this game whatsoever. We're only on a 5-game slate, so game stocking is not out of the question.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very appealing fantasy game. You got the big total, close spread, and a lot of underpriced solid plays here. So I think 7 to 8 guys really in play in this game. JT, thoughts here on the Grizzlies and Timberwolves?
Yeah, let me start with Rudy Gobert. I don't play him when he gets this kind of ownership. It's worked out really well. I think he's probably the biggest trap on the slate. I'll take Lopez at a ownership discount and somewhat of a discount there. It's not a great matchup for him. He's going to be going against Jaren Jackson Jr., who I actually like at 6,600. He's going.
You don't like Gobert?
What?
You don't like Gobert, JT?
No.
Oh my God! This guy has the Eiffel Powerté of the day, and he's getting rid of the French guy. Oh my God!
Well, I mean, listen, he's these matchups for him are tough. You want him in the matchup against Houston. You want him in a matchup against Indiana. You don't want him when he's going to have to deal with big bodies coming at him. And Memphis has a whole second slew of big bodies that they can pull off the bench. So it's not like he's going to get any break, right? When Jackson and Clark go out, all of a sudden Tillman, Aldama to a lesser extent are going to come in. So I just don't see the love that other people have for Gobert. I see it in the price, but I just happen to think it's a trap. So, and I just avoid him when he gets this kind of ownership, because if you don't play him and Brook Lopez, who's in a much better matchup, Jared Allen, much better matchup, one of the guys, you play Jackson, who's $200 more in what's been a much better, one of the best matchups, as you pointed out, for opposing power forwards, then I just think it's an advantage. So it's a little bit of game theory, but a little bit of real life in terms of what have I seen from Rudy Gobert. And it's been, I'm going to play him in the easier matchups. These matchups, he tends to shrivel up and, head over and eat a croissant by halftime. So we'll fade on him. I'm in agreement on the rest of these guys with you. I know that Dylan Brooks is scoring dependent, but 4,600 in this matchup is a little bit interesting if you're MMEing. And then a guy that I like that is only going to get about 15% ownership is Jaden McDaniels. Power forwards against this team. Everyone's been seduced by the great play of Kyle Anderson. Can't fault people for liking Anderson, but for $1,000 less on DraftKings, Jaden McDaniels is, I think, a better points per dollar play.
34 minutes in back-to-back games and gets us good matchups. I think that's a very good call. He's a guy I like playing. Two things. CDome just hit us with the shades here. Is it getting sunny in there or what?
Nah, I'm just blocking out the haterade from JT. I can't believe.
I'm not hating. I'm not. I mean, listen, I'm not saying. I just tell me what you don't disagree with. The fact that
you're not wrong. It's just that
it's upsetting that you were kind of focused on him, weren't you?
He wants a good mojo. He wants the good mojo on Friday. Your play of the day is called the Eiffel Tower play of the day. Might have to change it today. I mean, we might need a new name.
No, we don't have to change it.
I'm always for a Gobert fade because I fucking hate the guy. So I'm cool with that. CDome on the other hand, not cool with it.
God, I mean, I'm not, me, I'm not opposed to taking stands and going against the grain. So 100%. So I guess my only question is between Gobert and McConnell of two guys being super chalky, I'm guessing you would go McConnell every day of the week in this situation tonight over Gobert.
I honestly think you could fade them both on this slate. I think you can fade them both and be perfectly fine because you're looking at this Milwaukee Indiana game is a great game. Cleveland, Oklahoma City, what we saw with the Hawks who have a condensed rotations, guys can meet their value. That's what Cleveland's going to have tonight. The thing I like about Minnesota, notwithstanding Gobert, right, is the fact that their rotation has actually condensed recently. So you're seeing Russell, Anderson, McDaniels, Anthony Edwards play bigger minutes. I just, with Gobert, there's, in my mind, 43% ownership. I'll take the other side and see him get into some foul trouble. Maybe he doesn't have a terrible game. Maybe he gets you 32. Maybe he gets you 36. That's fine. If Brook Lopez does what centers have been doing to Indiana and he gets me 45 or 55, I'm way ahead of the field.
Interesting tournament. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, all right, so with Adams being out, right, hear me out. Does that kind of change or skew your thoughts in any way in regards to the interior of those big men defensively?
Say that again.
Okay, so with Adams being out, with Adams not being, in the rotation tonight, right? Because he's out with the injury. Obviously, they're more formidable with him in there. With him being out, doesn't it make them a little bit weaker in regards to the defensive approach that they have? That's all I'm asking. Because if you think Triple J and Xavier Tillman and Brandon Clark still kind of hold that defensive statue that they typically have against big men, then I'm all for it. Listen, you got to take a stand at the end of the day. So I don't mind what you're saying. I'm just damn, with the projections and kind of how he's populating, that's the only thing. It's if he's showing up so much, damn, he's got to be a good play.
I mean, look, it depends, right? Because so to answer the question, yeah, they could be a little bit, they could play a little bit faster. They could be a little bit worse on the interior. When he's just one of those players that at that ownership, if there are pivots, and I believe there are, then I'm going to take that chance. And he's not a consistent player, right? I mean, we're not talking about a guy who is matchup proof. We're not talking about a guy who does well in every matchup. He's perfectly capable of getting 3 fouls in 5 minutes, and then you don't see him again until 2 minutes left in the first half.
Right.
So if there were no other options, but like I said, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis is out. So I expect Lopez to get a couple of extra minutes in this matchup. And if he's doing well, I expect him to get a couple more minutes on top of that. And I think that's more possible. You've got Jared Allen at $6K. You've got, like I said, Jackson for just $200 more. You've got Brandon Clark at $4,900. So everyone's focusing. And I think his ownership is probably going to be higher and higher dollar, right? His ownership is going to be because of the fact that he's up there at the top of that value chart. But if you look every single day after the slate at that value chart, you're going to see there's 1 or 2 guys in the top 5 or 6 every single day that are letdowns, right? Tyler Herro the other night, right? Great matchup. He's got a smash. Butler's out. He goes 4 for 19 shooting. That happens. That's what I'm saying is when when volatile players get massive ownership for no real reason, like there's no real reason other than he's 6,400. I like to take the other side. And you could go and say, instead of 40%, I'm going to play 25. I'm going to take an extreme shot here on a smaller slate and say, I'm just going to wipe him out.
So let's just say he doesn't play because he has the Q tag. Can I interest you into some Nathan Knight or Naz Reid?
I think, but then you have a situation where Reid is going to get to 60 to 70% ownership. The question is, what does that get me? What are the upgrades here, right? You go through this slate, it's what? Giannis, Ja, and Anthony Edwards, right? That's pretty much it on spend-ups, unless maybe Pascal and Steph Curry, right?
It's not a ton of spends.
Yeah, so Steph Curry doesn't, with that whole team being fully healthy. And you made the point, CDome, that I completely agree with. I'm just going to be a little bit different in two positions, guard and center, of going a mid-level build, of going between maybe having one or two guys between 4 and 5, and the rest, your highest guy maybe gets to 9,500, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a build that works today.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't mind it. Like, if Naz Reid ended up playing and Gobert's out, I'd probably fade that play. So, at the end of the day, like, I guess it makes sense. So, it's 5-game slates too. You got to take a stand. So I respect it. I'm not opposed to anything.
Fally Burner is asking, have we ever talked this much about COVID?
One interesting point from the Chunky Blue story. He can't even play DFS tonight. I don't know what he has going on. He has something going on. He's risking his job to tune into the show, and he's not even playing fantasy.
That's a testament to the entertainment that this trio brings.
Yeah, love Chunky, man. Chunky, we appreciate you, man. Seriously, good luck the rest of the way in your career. I know you said you're at the end, but man, we're rooting for you to get the go the distance, I guess you could say. All right, we got 3 more games. We got the Cavs, we got the Thunder, 221.5 total. OKC is favored by 1.5 in this game, and they already ruled out Kevin Love. Donovan Mitchell is listed as doubtful. I just want to load up here on the Cavs again. Allen 6K. Misprice. Evan Mobley 6'8", solid last night, too cheap. Levert 5'2", too cheap. Garland 8'3", good play as well. On the Thunder side, we don't have a ton of studs. I think SGA is fine. Something I like doing if I'm building a lot of teams. If I know I'm going to have a lot of Cavs guys, I want to play the stud on the other side, and the stud is SGA, so I'll have some of him. But the Cavs are a priority for me tonight on this slate. JT, we'll go to you first. Cavs, Thunder, thoughts here?
Yeah, I'll start with the Thunder. The prices are all up here. Fully healthy team. Not as big of a rotation, which is a welcome trend as they've gotten more competitive. Really impressive by Mark Daniel that he's kind of morphed from, I've got to play everybody because I want to, get up into that lottery opportunity to where, hey, maybe we're a week early, maybe we're a year early, and we can get, I don't know why my internet is doing that. Everything's fine, but so sorry about that. But interesting to see that. And then, yeah, on the Cavs side, you got Darius at 8,300, Allen, Mobley, Levert. Okoro, who busted last night, and Chetty Osman had pretty much split the minutes. Chetty is 3,200. So if you were going to try and do some type of spend up for like a couple of these 9, 10, 11K guys, then I think Chetty's an interesting risk there at 3,200. Not a lot of exposure to him, but that's basically my thoughts on this one.
Yeah. CDome, what do you got here? Cavs, Thunder.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard after this Mitchell news earlier. It's hard to shy away from majority of this Cavs team, especially like you said, Levert's too cheap. Garland, I mean, is just his projection is getting way up there. There's going to be so much usage in his hands. The only thing is just, I'm just trying to figure out exactly how many Cavs is too much. And so, Allen, Garland, Mobley, Levert, 100%. And I don't know if there's really any need to kind of go down anymore prior to that. I can't do Okoro. And then Chetty at 3,200, his projection just doesn't line up. I'd rather go cheaper elsewhere if I am planning on going that cheap. But it's like you said, those 4 Cavs and then SGA. But I do have some love for Giddey in this situation as well. He's 7,800. Not too many people will go to him tonight nor pay that price point. But if you think this is a game where it stays competitive and it's up and down, I don't mind having a piece from the OKC side. And so if that differentiates from Shai or then Josh Giddey, I don't mind that whatsoever. But yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear. A lot of ownership's going to these 4 Cav guys. And, how you get different is maybe, add 2 guys on the other side of the ball, like SGA and Josh Giddey. I don't mind that either with either one of them. So just a curious situation for this game. And I think the only question you're going to ask yourself is how many Cavs guys do I want and how many Cavs guys make sense in a roster construction?
Yeah, and like these first 3 games, you'll see now that we get to these last 2 are definitely far more appealing for fantasy purposes than the later 2 games. So that's part of the reason why we spent so much time on these first 3, and then CDome's disgust with JT's hate for Rudy Gobert, that took up some time as well. Hit the like. We need 375. We're up to 616 watching. We got 266. All right. And like I said, we got 2 games left. They're not necessarily the greatest. So time could essentially be limited. So you need to start pounding that like button. And also we want to get to that 15,000 subscriber number. So also hit the subscribe button. Very simple. Like, subscribe. 2 more games. Magic, Heat, 219 total. Heat favored by 8.5 in this game. Orlando, man, they've just for a while been a team where I'm just not all that interested. We need some injuries. I mean, it's basically the same take for me slate after slate, where I think you can play Wendell Carter Jr. if you want. The price is down at 6K. Matchup is not great. I'll be fading the Magic here. I just don't love them in this matchup. The Heat, tough team to play when they're at full strength, and they are pretty much at full strength. I mean, I was messing around with Kyle Lowry early on in the season. He is 4.7K, which is really, really cheap, but I don't know if I necessarily get there when they're at full strength. I guess the one thing I would say, Jimmy Butler is only 7.6. Don't love him, but I do love that price tag. So I guess if I'm playing anyone here, it would be Butler at 7.6K. But this is just not that great of a game. JT, what do you think here in this one?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, even Kyle Lowry at that mid 4K price point just hasn't done anything, and it's just tough to see. Tough to find a need to play him here. 2 guys on Orlando that I just happen to think are just a little bit underpriced that I want to take some chances on in MME. Franz Wagner at 6,200. And then Cole Anthony may come in and play the shooting guard at 4,500. He's been getting about 30 minutes. That's been a position that's done well. So maybe 10% of those guys in MME. And then Tyler Herro, after a bad game against whoever they were playing the other night where Butler was out, 4 for 19 shooting, same price point, 6,900. I think at low ownership, he's a little bit interesting just for a contrarian play.
Yeah, don't hate that call. I mean, most of these pieces are going to be pretty low owned. I mean, this is a game I think most people do end up avoiding for the most part. CDome, any interest here? Any Magic or Heat players for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think Butler is too cheap. He's 7,600. Shows up a lot too when you run the optimizer. Bam Adebayo, same thing. I mean, it's not that he's too cheap. It's just that he's been playing just incredibly. If he keeps that up, man, and we look at a game tonight where he takes 20 plus shots. He's there at the rim. He's playing 35 plus minutes. I want to have a couple shares of that, I think. And I think it's a great call, like JT mentioned on Tyler Herro. Like he went 4 for 19 and he got 25 DK points last time. If he just makes like 4 or 5 more of those shots, like he gets there. The price point also, he's 6,900 for the amount of volume that he puts up and time he plays on the floor. I don't mind that whatsoever. It is kind of a nasty game in regards to like a DFS perspective, but we only have 5 games and you're going to have to kind of look and get different elsewhere. And this could be one of those games. From the Orlando side, Franz Wagner is probably the best play on Orlando. 6,200. I think that's very fair considering the type of player that he is. More importantly, he's another guy, right? Dual eligible. He's going to take double-digit shots, heavy minutes. He's like one of the secure guys in that Orlando rotation. Scoring's got to come from somewhere. I don't mind him whatsoever. I see people talking about Fultz. He is a guy that I like to do sometimes, and when I'm multi-entering, it's just.
Whoa! Did I just hear that right?
What?
I believe I heard you say that's that guy that you like to do sometimes.
Oh, you're sick.
Hey, you said it, not me. You said it, not me.
You acted like there was some like big news or something. Like
that's kind of big.
It would be big if that was an announcement you were making. I mean, we would be intrigued. Chunky, by the way, CDome, before you answer, Chunky Blue, give us a little more detail about what you do for a living. I'm intrigued now. I need to know what it is that you do that you're at the end of your career, you're risking it, you may be too busy to put in a lineup tonight. These are things we need to know. I'm sorry, CDome, go ahead.
We need more of the Chunky Blue
fine.
story. Very intriguing story, to be honest with you.
No, it's fine. Hoop got the old chat up and running. Seems like we got some people that are cute in chat. But
JT, it looks like you and Chunky Blue could be colleagues.
Oh, listen, if you guys remember, the LGBTQ community we support. Okay, we've had winners from that community.
Yes.
We're very diverse. Nothing against any type of what you like. I don't do men. Just letting you know that right
Don't
now.
turn this into a judgment thing. Don't turn this into a judgment thing. We were wondering if you had an announcement to make. Hoop was just wondering if you were sharing an interest.
Listen,
well, the reason I asked because you told us about the big Valentine's Day trip, so it was like kind of contradicting stories a little bit.
Yeah, me and Fultz, he's flying on his private jet to Cabo, right?
Well, listen, I mean,
breaking news.
Yesterday, you were sitting down with Kawhi Leonard telling us you didn't think he was focused on basketball. So I wouldn't put anything out of the realm of possibility here, CDome.
Hey, I will say, like, in regards to that me and Kawhi are in on the same venture. So that is 100% true. I will say I was talking to the CEO yesterday, like after we had that discussion. In chat, and I said, "Do you think Kawhi sits tonight after him being busy all day?" He goes, "Man, I hope so, man. I'm going to load up on PG." so it was funny. Like we were all thinking the same thing, but he ended up playing, and it is what it is. But just going back to this, no, I will say, that girl, she had her fun with the Phoenix Suns. I'm gonna have my fun with the Orlando Magic. All right, and we'll keep it at that. But other than that, though, all these other plays from the Magic, I don't think I'm too keen into. Wendell Carter, it is interesting, like JT mentioned. But, for me, Bam, he's been playing out of his mind. So I think I'm just going to kind of just stay low key in regards to anyone else outside of Franz and maybe some potential Markelle Fultz.
The Chunky Blue story continues. More comment. I don't want, he's a state government employee. I don't want to, put everything out there, but we're getting more details, which is very important because I am intrigued by the story.
Yeah, the more we get, the more
security clearance. Does he have top flight security clearance?
The more we find out, the more serious of a risk this is that he's taking, and the more impressed I am.
Chunky Blue. How many classified documents do you have in your office? Right? That's the true telling story. We need.
Everyone has them except me. The only one who doesn't have like a file somewhere. Just
JT, can you open up those drawers behind you? Let's start going through some of those documents. Let's see what we can dig up.
I don't have the lock. I'm serious. Think about it. I don't have the lock.
All right, last game on the slate. We have the Raptors. We have the Warriors. 235 total. Warriors favored by 5. And, in terms of this game, two teams pretty much at full strength. Andrew Wiggins is listed questionable in this game, but I think he plays. Even if he sits, they still have their core guys. Jordan Poole now in the starting lineup kind of takes away a little bit usage. As well. Steph Curry's 10-4 on DK, but he's 9-8 on FanDuel. I think he's fine on FanDuel at that 9.8K price tag. Don't really love him 10-4 on DK. If I'm going anywhere on the Warriors, though, on DK, I would probably just be with like some of these cheaper guys. Klay Thompson, 6.5K. Can he get hot on a 5-game slate and be on the winner? Yeah, absolutely. If Wiggins plays, Draymond maybe. On the Raptors side, Siakam, I think, is fine at 9.5 just because we don't have these, top end spends on the slate. Van Fleet at 8K. maybe, but not a ton of interest. The issue here is both these teams essentially at full strength. CDome, I'll stick with you. Raptors, Warriors, any interest here?
Oh, absolutely. Late night hammer. I think the first guy we should focus on. This team has really struggled defending guards, and guards really exceed expectations, and that's Red Van Fleet, man. I mean, 8K, great projection. Getting kind of underlooked too in this situation. I think right there is an area that I maybe want to attack and maybe get different in comparison to maybe other guys in that same range, same eligible position. So he's probably my first look. Steph, I just can't do. His projection is just relatively low to that 10.4K price point. So it's a for me. And I think, what we're trying to see from Steph is, what can he do in regards to, getting back fully healthy in this rotation, him kind of getting those 55, 60-point games. We have to see it. But also, too, I think Poole in the lineup kind of takes away from him. I think if Poole was coming off the bench, maybe we see kind of a different fluctuation in regards to that projection. But for now, I don't think we can pay that 10.4K price point. Draymond, 6,200, don't mind. Clay, 65, don't mind either. These guys have relatively good projections in comparison to other guys in the same price range. And they're getting 8-10% ownership. These are guys, if you're multi-entering, they're there, right? They have upside. I don't mind it. And then Siakam. I think Siakam, it's like if it's like JT said, if you want to get different at center tonight, maybe it's Siakam. 9,500, projections around 48, 49 fantasy points. Going really under owned tonight. Looking at maybe 6-7% projected ownership. Hey, for a guy that's going to be on the floor 35 plus minutes, I mean, he's one of the heart and souls of the offense. I don't mind it whatsoever. I think the only thing we're hoping for is this game stays relatively close, stays competitive. And if it does, then I think that's a great play. But outside of that, Scotty Barnes is getting a little bit too pricey. He's almost 8K. I don't know if I want to go there. And I think the last guy that maybe people will highly consider are two guys of Wiggins and OG Anunoby. Both the same price points, 6,000, 5,900 together. If I had to pick one between the two, I'd probably Andrew Wiggins. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for me from this game.
Yep. JT, any interest here in the Raptors or Warriors players?
Yeah, I think Van Vliet at 8K is interesting. Like CDome said, Siakam at 9,500 and what's been a good matchup for opposing centers is fine. OG, it's tough, man. It's really tough to play OG when this team is healthy, but 5,900 is a pretty good price point. These guys play big minutes, right? I wouldn't play like more than two of them together, but I think you could take shots and pair two of these guys. And then on the other side, Jordan Poole, the price point is all the way down now. He's taking a bunch of shots. 7,300 is okay. And then, Wiggins and Draymond, 6K and 6,200. Wiggins did have an illness. It was a non-COVID illness, but it has been a couple of days. If he plays, assuming he's fully healthy, that's just a little bit too cheap a price for him. So definitely some good plays in this game.
Final update to the Chunky Blue story. He did get his brother to apparently save some contests for him. So it looks like he might be playing tonight. Hopefully we provided the winners for him. He said he is at risk, though, because they monitor all the calls going out. So good luck to you, Tim. Well, I hope this guy, yeah.
He's got to work in a prison. Am I right, Chunky Blue? Do you work in a prison? Just let us know here in chat. And we have a couple of minutes because, look, we're not even close to 375. What I'm looking at.
Yeah. Hey, if you don't want to hit the like for us,
hit
the like for freaking Chunky Blue, who is putting it all on the line tonight to be here with us. Like putting it all on. Oh, you were right. JT is just, man, you are so smart. You are
Chunky
smart.
Blue, first of all, Chunky Blue risking it, needing the plays because he definitely can't get onto the Run Pure Sports website. So he can't get to the core plays. He needs these plays of the day. And I mean, you guys are you're fucking him. You're doing what they do to people in prison. It's not nice. He's one of the good guys. He's on our side. So, come on, let's go. Yeah. Oh, by the way, YOLO123 says in Brook Lopez's last matchup against Indiana, he only went for 5X, and that was with Giannis and Middleton out. And that's his reason for not playing him tonight. Good luck to you. Portis was playing in that game. He played 34 minutes. He took somewhere in the neighborhood of I don't know how many shots. So the whole thought process is he's 5,800, great matchup against centers. And Portis, by the way, is injured. So there you go. You don't want to play him? Don't play him. I'm not going to be hurt.
Yeah, I mean, that's a low-owned play for sure. Hate to do it. We got 330 in terms of the likes, 610. Man, JT, what? This is your world, man. What are we doing?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Let's. I don't know. CDome, you have any other interesting things to say? It looks like it's nice mid-afternoon day, out there in San Diego. Anything you want to share with Kyler Dawkins hating on the freeloaders because he's not getting the plays of the day? I think I had a really good one. It wasn't Brook Lopez, but it was a really good play.
Yeah, I have a great play.
Yeah. All right, here you got 40 minutes. I got something to ask you, Dome. All right, you guys got 40. Well, you got not 40 minutes. You need 40 more likes, essentially. Do you have any? How are the best balls looking for you, CDome?
In like the playoff ones?
Yeah, the playoff best balls. Yeah.
Playoff best balls. Let me just check real quick. I have 6 left on Underdog, and I have one left on DraftKings. So I guess we'll have to see. Yeah, and you know what screwed me over, man, is the fact that a lot of these other lineups now are just completely dead. And what I did was I focused too much on getting too much of the teams that were actually here now, but unfortunately, a lot of these guys just didn't produce. But now these other teams,
it's like DK Metcalf week 1, Christian Kirk the first 2 weeks, like he was essential. You needed him to like advance. So I want to get through. I just want to see like what some of these teams look like because I know what you needed the first couple weeks to get there. It's interesting. It's a fun format.
No, I like it. I think next year what I'm going to do is definitely invest a little bit more in the season long of NFL for sure with the best ball. Like it's a great like different way of playing the game. So I don't mind it whatsoever. But I'm looking forward to next year. I think they have it for baseball, right?
I believe so. Yeah, they have baseball best balls. Yeah, which is, I mean, that best balls for
sounds
baseball.
Grueling. Sounds grueling.
Yeah.
No, I won't look at it for a majority of the year, but I don't mind doing a couple lineups.
No.
Yeah. All right. 3 say. I mean, whatever, man. It's Friday. You guys.
I mean, we got what? We need 10 likes.
Yeah, they'll get us there. They're going to get us there.
After hours are going to get there. You'll probably get there by the time we're finished with the plays.
Yeah.
Brittany, welcome to the chat, Brittany.
Yeah.
You didn't miss much. Much.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Brittany. Loyal RPS a member for sure. All right, Rich Parents play of the day. We'll get right into it. I'll go first. I'm going, a guy I actually like hate on the court. Like I think he's like one of those guys that can never win. But tonight for fantasy, he's going to treat us well. D'Angelo Russell is going to be the Rich Parents play of the day. Next up, go to CDome, the carbonated wine play of the day. Who do you got for us, CDome?
Yeah, no, today is, my, vacation with men trip play of the day. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and roll with, I'm just feeding into your guys' bullshit now. So,
hey, your words, not mine.
But no. My carbonated wine play of the day is actually going to be from the Late Night Hammer. I'm going Fred VanVleet. He's a guy tonight that has a great situation in going up in a matchup in a high-paced environment in Golden State. I think they're going to need a lot from him to kind of stay in contention. Golden State plays great at home and compete. But more importantly, he just shows up on a ton of optimals. His projection is very fitting to his price point. He's also going to be under-owned, in my opinion. So some 10-digit percentage ownership. I love it. Fred VanVleet is the carbonated wine play of the day.
All right. Very good. And lastly, the way we end every Friday here on the Hardwood Show, we hop on that flight and head on over to check out the old Eiffel Tower. JT, who is the Eiffel Tower play of the day?
Yeah, so we all know that it's not going to be Rudy Gobert, but it's a game that I like, and I think you can get a lot of leverage by playing a guy who's a flowchart player. Everyone's focused on Kyle Anderson. I don't think he's a terrible play. A lot of people focused on Rudy Gobert, and sitting right there at a discount in one of the best matchups on the slate, especially if Rudy has to dump it off, if he gets into foul trouble, 4,500, Jaden McDaniels. He's going to take that short, quick flight over to Paris, and Rudy is not going to get any baguettes tonight.
I do like that. I do like that play quite a bit. 34 minutes back-to-back games. He can kind of fill it up in the stat sheet. Love it. So you get D'Angelo Russell, Fred VanVleet, and our guy Jaden McDaniels as the 3 plays of the day. Good luck to everyone in your contest. Got the Up to Lock show coming up next. Big T, JSU, Holden. Get on over to runpuresports.com to check it out. But for CDome, for JTHayes, I'm Hoop. Good luck tonight in your contest.